Groundbreaking for PNG Kidney Foundation Center. New measures for universities' admissions. Landowners threaten to shut down services.
This is NBC Papua New Guinea National News.
Good evening, I'm Jerry Tave with Monday's news. Papua New Guinea Kidney Foundation will soon have a new dialysis center to enable more patients access to hemodialysis treatment and kidney care services. The groundbreaking ceremony for the construction phase was conducted today by Minister for Health Michael Malabag. Construction of the center is set to begin and will be opened by January next year. PNG Kidney Foundation plans to have 10 dialysis machines to cater for more patients once the center is opened. Gregory Avira reports.
While drenched and vacant at present, this site in the heart of the Kennedy Estate at 8 Mile will be the location for the Foundation's new dialysis center. A groundbreaking ceremony by Minister for Health Michael Malabag and the Foundation's board chairman Martin Poe marks the start of the center's construction. The occasion comes as an achievement for the Foundation in its plan to expand its much-needed services to Papua New Guineans. There continues to be an increase in patients seeking treatment and support from the Foundation. Minister Malabag says with the important role the Foundation plays, the new center will benefit many.
I know that our patients, not only in Port Moresby, but right throughout Papua New Guinea will come. You know, they will have referrals and then they will come over here too, and I know the Foundation will continue to provide that very, very important dialysis services to our people.
PNG Kidney Foundation currently has 2 fully operational dialysis machines, with plans to have more once the center opens.
We are an NGO, so we depend on donations, but we aim that we'll try to get at least 10 machines in to start with. Depends on our finances, but later we plan to increase.
While treatment is costly, the Foundation says it will still maintain affordability for patients to get this much-needed service.
We do take into consideration that we're an NGO and we're trying to provide quality care. So most of the cost of the treatment we are subsidizing, and patients are only paying 150 kina. That is the cost that we have agreed to by the board.
Gregory Avira, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Meanwhile, business houses and the general public have been encouraged to support the PNG Kidney Foundation in its 3rd annual fundraising dinner. Minister for Health Michael Malabag said the foundation, despite being a non-government organization, continues to provide affordable treatment and support for kidney patients in the country. The minister's appeal follows the launch for the sale of tickets for a fundraising dinner set for October.
I can maybe put an appeal out here that when the time comes, I will ask those business houses, good corporate citizens, and our people, for them to come and show their support to help the Kidney Foundation. And I know the patron is our Governor General, and he will be there. So it's a direct appeal to our people to come on board, because when you support the foundation, you are supporting the very patients who are receiving dialysis services from the Foundation.
All state universities have been advised by the National Executive Council in its decision to improve on the admission, and all first-year students must have a police clearance to be admitted. This decision was made after the 3 state universities were involved in boycotting classes and protests that disrupted the 2016 academic year. Esther Balindwani reports.
So much has happened in the 3 state universities following the boycotting of classes and protests, which has disrupted the teaching and learning activities in the 2016 academic year. This has brought the government to come up with decisions to impose some sort of actions apart from the grade point average or GPA results for their admissions. In a phone call today, the UPNG Director for Public Relations and Events Manager, Jim Robbins, said they will be subject to the GPA and follow the standard assessment, but the decision is considered. Mr. Robbins said the UPNG administration will meet tomorrow to discuss the 2016 academic programs and the 2017 admissions. Meanwhile, the University of Goroka Vice-Chancellor Professor Musua Sinebare said the private universities are doing well in discipline. Professor Sinebare said the onus is on the universities to tighten up their entry criteria, but he says the unified criteria will be better. The UOG is meeting today to consider the National Executive Council's decision and will be advertised on Friday. However, in the PNG Education News blog, it was stated that the University of Technology has introduced the special tertiary admissions test offered by the Australia Council for Educational Research in addition to the grade 12 examinations results. It states its purpose is to measure candidates' aptitude or ability rather than to measure achievements. It also states that Unitec's acting Vice-Chancellor Dr. Ora Renagi said school leavers who apply to Unitec but fail to sit for this aptitude test will not be considered. Esther Berlinwani, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
The NCD Grassroots Network Foundation is providing equal opportunities for marginalized groups in the nation's capital. It recently presented a check of 10,000 kina to a women's group at 6 Mile to assist them in the Life Skills program. Patron of the foundation, Michael Kandiu, says the foundation is all about empowering the grassroots marginalized people. Mickey Cavera reports.
It was a small but significant occasion. For years, these women have been seeking assistance from various organizations in their efforts to better their lives. The NCD Grassroots Network Foundation recently came to their aid with funding of 10,000 kina. They expressed gratitude towards the foundation for their generosity. Patron of the foundation, Michael Kandiu, says the NCD Grassroots Network Foundation is committed to empowering the marginalized groups. He says poverty is real and it is important that everyone must be given equal opportunities to better their lives.
Our aim and objectives of the NCD Grassroots Network Foundation is we want to help those mothers, church, community, and people living under poverty and need any help like that. The foundation's objective is to assist them in these kind of situations. Therefore, we felt that it was genuine when we saw the group of mothers from different parts of province living in 6 Mile area. We feel obliged to support them in kind.
Kandiu says the plight of women continue to be neglected by authorities. He says every effort must be made to ensure women are supported in their endeavors. Mickey Cavera, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
After 6 years in and out of court, prominent businessman Matthew Minape has won his legal battle over portion 2353 at Waigani in the nation's capital. Mr. Minape's business arm, the United PNG Holdings, received the title for this piece of land from the Lands Board a few years back, but were taken to court by another party. The National Court handed down a decision on Friday declaring Mr. Minape as the rightful title holder. The land will be developed into a housing and commercial centre. Jehabakia reports.
Portion 253, also known as Iraq by city residents living within the vicinity of the area, is opposite to the Laguna Hotel, next to the Games Village Police Barracks in Port Moresby. Mr. Minape's company, United PNG Holdings, got a title to this piece of land some years ago for the purpose of real estate and commercial development. The title was challenged by another interested party in court.
We follow process, there's a title. There's only one title. In the court, there's no 2 titles have been tendered. There's no 3 titles are tendered. Only one title is tendered, is owned by United PNG Holdings. All the state is giving long and people are filing. So now court and talk. we have to proceed and we have to develop. So thank you.
The National Court last week made a decision on behalf of United PNG Holdings as the legal title holder. This is 6 years after the initial case was filed.
Now we are saying that we are the rightful leaseholders. Now development will proceed and they have to move. And those who are squatting there, they have to move out from that place because without any proceeding. We've waited this too long and we know those options are there. Those options are there, but my warning is that we will not tolerate because 6.5 years with the title we have is far too long. So only the authorities are Department of Lands. Department of Land says that I don't develop the land or whatever and they want to talk to me, they deal with me.
Legal counsel representing Mr. Minape's company, George Lau, explained some of the legal issues surrounding such cases. He said based on the legality of the appellant's case, the court said the appellant failed to follow proper processes when filing the case, hence the decision in the defendant's favor.
There was a judicial review proceeding where leave was sought by Giwi Properties Limited. The presiding judge, Judge Kennings, was of the view that the applicant plaintiff did not have standing. In that applicant plaintiff was not the initial applicant in the Lands Board appeal. You have to be an applicant in the Lands Board appeal, the administrative appeal process, and if that appeal fails, then you can file a judicial review. In this case, that applicant, the applicant was not an applicant in that administrative appeal, so that proceeding was dismissed.
Mr. Minape made it clear that he does not acquire land to resell, but for the purposes of development. He further called on other Papua New Guineans and businessmen not to sell land, but to develop it and lease it to other parties, either local or foreign. JFK NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Overseas now, there's an alert on one of New York's busiest airports. The emergency services has responded to calls about the possibility of gunshots being fired at JFK. Media reports are suggesting that they were inside the airport's Terminal 8.
Well, at this particular stage, there's been no official alert, no official evacuation, and no official confirmation that gunshots have indeed been fired. And what we do know for certain is that there have been no reports of any injuries whatsoever. This incident began roughly 1.5 hours ago with social media reporting gunshots occurring within Terminal 8 at JFK Airport. There were then pictures on social media of people being evacuated or leaving Terminal 8, some, it would appear, in a panic. I have spoken to New York Police Department, who have referred all inquiries to the Port Authority. I spoke to the Port Authorities, who said that they would get back to me on the situation. What we do know at this particular point is that there was some incident, whether it is directly related to some form of violent incident within the terminal, or whether it is related perhaps to the weather, which is a factor in all of this. There have been severe thunderstorms. A number of flights have been diverted from Kennedy Airport to other airports because of the weather conditions. So at the moment, it is still very unclear. The official airport website is saying that there have been severe thunderstorms which have delayed flights. So a very confused situation at the moment. But importantly to note that nearly 2 hours after the first reports of the shooting, no confirmation whatsoever of any injuries and no confirmation whatsoever that there was an active shooter involved.
In the U.S. state of Louisiana, at least 3 people have died and a state of emergency has been declared after torrential rain caused unprecedented levels of flooding caused in southern parts of the country. Thousands of residents have been rescued from their homes and vehicles.
Do you have something? Yeah.
In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, rescuers came across a car sinking in the flood waters, the driver still inside it.
I'm drowning.
I'm drowning, she tells them. Before being dragged to safety in the nick of time.
Good God.
Her first thought is of her dog, who was also inside. Then the pet too is plucked to safety from the murky waters. 40 miles east, another remarkable rescue. A lorry driver whose vehicle was swept off the road by the floodwaters. He'd spent 8 hours clinging to a fallen tree. They've seen rain in the deep south, but they haven't seen rain like this. 3 months' worth in a single night, according to one estimate, causing some to flee with just the clothes on their back.
We have lost trailers, our apartment, our house is gone under. There's nothing left, nothing.
With more rain on the way,
Unbelievable.
the race is on to save all they hold dear.
We now look at the weather preview with Douglas.
Thanks, Jerry. Good evening, everybody. The weather in brief. Fine weather forecasted for most centers, whilst others will have showers. John Millate in the bulletin for the weather details. Jerry, it's back to you.
Thank you, Douglas. Coming up after the break, Electoral Commission urges voters for electoral roll update and reports filled with details of an armed robbery at Rio Games. Stay with us on NBC National News.